Hello again, race fans, and welcome to the Prime Meridian Racing League Season 2, race number 5. It is going to be 100 laps around a racetrack that really needs no introduction. It is the most legendary, famous, infamous, if you will, hallowed ground of IndyCar. It is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this brickyard is special anytime you get to race here, and we are looking forward to a very special race today with a very full field. Hello again, once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Trevor Greenfield, as always, in the booth, going to be bringing you all of the calls today. But as always, I am going to be joined by none other than Julian Altena, part of the Velocity online racing team and running the VOR League. Hey, Julian, awesome to have you here again this week, and looking forward to another fantastic race here in the PMRL. Of course, it's such a famous racetrack.
Yeah, of course. We're back home again in Indiana, right? So it's going to be a great race here. The second oval of the season, going to be a great one, 100 laps, as you said. I think it's going to be a very interesting race. You can run both lines on the track, the inside and the outside lines. So we're going to see some good battles all night long, and I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed, I'm not only looking forward to it, but again, this is just one of those tracks that is, it's on everybody's radar every season as an IndyCar driver, and certainly here in the PMRL, we have such a close battle that's going on for this championship. It's going to mean a lot to all of these competitors, especially for that oval championship, which is a special championship within a championship. But let's go ahead and jump down trackside. The cars are just out there finishing the last of their practice before they head out there to qualify. Take a look at how they are doing in this practice, and it is David Soranzo who currently is holding the top time here currently in this practice. So Eric Lindstrom and Henry Bennett making an appearance for the first time here in the Prime Meridian Racing League. So these cars just about to head out and qualify, and then we'll have a nice long warm-up afterwards so we can get to the points. But who's your favorite here, Julian, for the poll?
Oh, you're giving me a hard question right away. I honestly don't know. It's very common for these drivers to set identical lap times, so it really depends on all the milliseconds and everything and how you nail the lap. So I really don't know what to say on who is going to be somewhere close to the pole position. It really can be anybody if they nail their laps.
Well, and of course, qualifying doesn't have to mean so much. You can come from deeper in the field, but as we have seen with these IndyCars on iRacing here at VirtualRacing.Network, we've seen it time and again that controlling the front, getting up there and being at the front is the way to go. And you get the clean air. You don't have to deal with that dirty air coming off of that pack in front. We can see Thomas Christensen here, very experienced racer with a win here in the PMRL last season on an oval. And so he's back here again today to give Indy another shot and racing with 3 crowns with IAR. And so Christensen looking to put in his first time. And we also have a number of other drivers out there on the track. Very short qualifying session here, just 5 minutes to get in your 2 laps. Let's take a look at the weather as well. 44 degrees, is that right?
Track temperature, yeah.
Yes, 44 degrees track temperature. Pretty darn warm out there, 27 ambient. That is scorching hot. And these drivers are going to have to deal with some definite tire degradation as this race wears on, that's for sure. Andreas Eick currently at the top of the board, as you can see, a 39.62, and now Christensen put his name at the top with a 39.62. Andreas Eick, excuse me, with a 39.62. So these drivers down to the 100th of a second tied, but Christensen a little bit faster. Blackwood there slotting into 3rd. Danny Brennan now getting in a great lap in 4th, just a little bit off of that time. So not a very big gap for Brennan. That's a great qualifying. You can see Thomas Klessens getting in a lap time, putting him 5th. Mark Johnston now 6th, and Anna Jorfi in 7th, and we can see Christensen there with that pole time. So he actually did go faster, I believe. No, did he on that last one? No, he did not. I apologize. But his first lap, fastest enough so far to see him on pole. I tell you what, I've talked about her a lot, though, Julian. Alexis Newsom recently winning in Lionheart, winning in other series. She's won here on VirtualRacing.Network's coverage of the IndyCar iRacing series, and she heads out with that 3 Crowns Racing with IAR paint scheme ready to attack, and we'll see whether or not she can take pole or whether she'll have something for these other front runners out there this week at Indy.
Yeah, Henry Bennett gonna be a big contender as well, though. I'm currently watching him, and he just went to the provisional pole with a 39.545, and he actually came off a pretty bad day in the Classic IndyCar series, which I race in as well. In the Indy 500, he was leading, and then he spun out of the pits, I do believe, and then crashed into some other cars that were coming along. So that meant that his day ended on that weekend. So I'm sure he's gonna be looking for a better result here today.
Indeed, it's always one to recover from one race and bounce into the next. Hugo Olsen now getting into 2nd place behind Henry Bennett, his Power Slide Motorsports teammate. So currently the front of this order as we get Will Lyon out there. Will with a rocking a custom paint job this week. Great to have him and the SMS Racing crew putting together custom liveries for today's race. But he'll have his work cut out, as you can see already. Bennett, Olsen, Orman, and Lindstrom ahead of Will Lyon on that first lap. Second lap, not faster, just like the rest of the drivers, not able to take a faster time on that second lap. Now, here's a name, Julian, our Season 1 drivers are going to be our Season 1 fans are going to be very familiar with. It's Taylor Mills, the winner of Pocono last season in an amazing race. She was able to take that win from Thomas Christensen, and I think Taylor just got caught out. Unfortunately, there in qualifying, I did not get the final result. We'll get that up on the screen for you, but I don't think Taylor got in a lap. She got a very late start there, and I don't believe she actually got in a lap.
Yeah, she didn't.
Well, that is very unfortunate. She'll have to start from the back, but again, her skills are amazing on ovals, so we look forward to seeing that. Let's go ahead and get the official qualifying order up there so we can see where everybody will in fact be starting, and it is Henry Bennett who comes in out of nowhere and takes pole position. Has not run with the PMRL previous to now, but we saw him on the entry list at the start of the season. Nevertheless, it's Power Slide Motorsports teammates side by side on that front row locking it out. Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen. Our second row, we'll see a 3 crown with IAR lockout between Jesper Orman and Erica Lindstrom. Third row will be Will Lyon and Thomas Christensen. And fourth row, Andreas Eich and David Soranzo. Fifth row, Sam Blackwood and Alexis Newsom. Alexis only a 1/10 of a second off. If you look at that, less than 2/10 of a second separating first all the way down to 16th place. So a lot of these drivers have a great chance here. We're seeing also a couple of drivers we haven't been seeing this season. Sophie Hawk, have not seen Sophie previous to now. And as I mentioned before, Henry Bennett, new to this week. We haven't been seeing Severi Seppa every single week, but he's back in the field. And, of course, a number of our favorites over Season 1 and Season 2 back in the field today, including all of our winners from last season on the oval. So that's great as well. So while we have a moment and the drivers are out there doing their warm-up laps, we will take a look at the current points as they stand. Momentarily. And you can see it is Will Lyon who still leads, no problems. However, there is a very quick climbing car right behind, and it's the car that's on screen right now. It's Hugo Olsen, who gained a spot last week, and this season is long from over, so any one of these top positions still in flux, and I wouldn't get too comfortable if I were Will Lyon, but he never seems to be too comfortable. I mean, the guy, he seems to roll 1 week and week in and week out, and that's, again, just like Henry having a poor race yesterday. You just got to hop back in the car and put your head down and go out and get it, and, well, Henry's on pole here today.
Yeah, exactly. Just like you can do with iRacing, you can really race any day, every hour of the week. So it's easy to rebound from a certain bad result to another and do well again. So just takes practice and some more track time to fully recover from it mentally as well, which is a completely different aspect to it. But generally speaking, from race to race, you can do a lot better than in the previous one, which is great. And especially in leagues when you are racing multiple nights a week maybe, or even multiple weeks apart from each other, you can just recover well, just take a few days off and then go again. So that's what they're all trying to do, and that's really what they're on iRacing for, to just try and get the best result they can.
And it is that sort of a thing where it's a challenge week in and week out just to do the best that you can. And obviously, though, if you're a front runner such as Henry Bennett, Hugo Olsen, a number of these drivers, they've been doing this for so many years now that it's really, there's a lot of expectations that they place on themselves. It's very disappointing when they have an off day, and it's tough to go back to those early days of racing where you're dealing with constantly being taken out and you're fighting for 15th place and everything. But nevertheless, that's the quality of talent that we have here, fortunately, in the Prime Meridian Racing League. And it's a beautiful thing to have such a competitive group, because today's race of 100 laps should be an absolute barn burner. I'm looking forward to it. And of course,
yeah, so am I.
Now, Julian, last season's winner, Jesper Orman, back in the field. He's going to be starting on the second row, but that's not too far back. Exciting to have him back in the field. And again, Christensen and Mills also back in the field. So that Oval Championship, as well as who is the best Swedish driver, which is a popular in-season championship, that's also up for grabs today as well. Always meaningful to these competitors. So warm-up is over, and let's go ahead and check out that result on your screen here. So the warm-up going to Henry Bennett with Sam Blackwood and Matthew Levine. Most of these drivers just getting out there, checking the systems, making sure everything is running right. And so not really trying to set a time, but sometimes trying to get a quick drafting in. Hey, Julian, we are almost ready to go. This is Indianapolis, and we're about to do a 100-lap race with this stacked field of drivers. How exciting is this right now?
Well, I think every driver in the field currently has a huge amount of nerves in them right now, because they simply don't know what's going to happen, especially at the start. There's a bump on the inside of turn 1-2, which at a little bit of lower speed at the starts and restarts is going to be quite tricky. So expect the cars, especially on the double wide start, to be a little bit tipsy going in there, I guess is the right way to say it. So that's the first major closing point for them. But after that, they should be able to sort themselves out and get a relatively clean run going. But as for the start, going back to the nose, that's really going to be the key part. To keep yourself under control, don't make a mistake at that start, because it's going to set you up for the entire race.
That really is the key. This track as an oval, just as much as any track out there, those walls are so close. It's so easy to get up close, possibly scrub that wall or make a contact early on, make the wrong call, drafting into the corner. Any one of those things is a distinct possibility, and you just got to be super careful if you're one of these drivers to not get into a wreck early and take yourself out of it. It will be, though, Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen and Jesper Orman, as well as Erica Lindstrom, Will Lyon and Thomas Christensen, Andreas. This is just a field of pure experience here at the Speedway. Hugo Olsen, winner of the Open Wheels 500. It's really something special to see this group come together and a number of one-off drivers that have not been driving in other events. That's kind of what Indy's all about. You know, everybody's saying, hey, this is the event I want to jump into, but 100 laps is what it's going to take to decide who is the best, who is the champion here at Indy. If there's one race out of the whole calendar you might want to take, it's this one, and we're about to see who can shake it out the best.
Here we go.
So they line up side by side, and we wait as the pace car pulls off. Bennett leads the field down, late on the gas, and we are green into across the start-finish line. He goes finally. It's such a long straightaway, and Henry Bennett leads us into turn one. It's side by side about fourth place. It's Thomas Christensen on the outside, Erica Lindstrom and Will Lyon momentarily having a shuffle. It's David Soranzo who's actually managed to come up one position there already. And now Will Lyon just in front, coming forward with that one-off livery here for Indy. Currently sitting in fourth spot. We look back up front, it's still Henry Bennett. No problems with Hugo Olsen as we complete lap one. The two teammates staying nose to tail with no challenges for that lead thus far. Third place, it is Jesper Orman hanging on. And of course, they're in fourth. Will Lyon has managed to claw one position forward. Now Christensen has managed to get around his teammate of Lindstrom and start to climb forward. He's gained that spot. Unfortunately for Lindstrom, dropping back 2 spots already. And Soranzo now has gained that 1 spot as well. Andreas Eich, incredibly talented driver last season at this race, finished second. We look for him to possibly come forward as always. And guess who has moved to the front past his teammate? It's the gold car of Hugo Olsen. So we'll see if this is swap drafting between these two front teammates to try to keep everyone at bay, but we got a long ways to go. And we'll see if anyone can challenge them. I'll tell you what, Julian, I'm looking at, as these two swap into turn 3, I'm looking at that Jesper Orman car, trying to figure out what he wants to do next.
Yeah, I think he just wants to follow and save some fuel behind these two cars, because I was just going to bring up the part as well of the power slide drivers trading the lead left a few times on the lap just to swap draft. I think that's what they're trying to do as well, but Jasper's just got to stay where he is, save some fuel so he can extend his fuel stint and maybe time a yellow ride. That's probably what most of the drivers behind it will be doing as well, because that's simply the strategy you want to do at Indy. But yeah, Hugo with a nice run out of turn 2 now. Gains a little bit of time on his teammate there, with Henry now under pressure from Jesper Orman.
And while these three continue to run 1, 2, 3, it's kind of starting to space out a little bit behind. Of course, this is a fixed setup series, so these drivers having to make do with what they're handed and not able to make any adjustments there on the setup side in the garage, but able to adjust in the cockpit the anti-roll bars as well as the weight jacker settings. And that's about the limit of what they can do. They can't really change too much on the pit stops either. So it's pretty much just do the best you can to make the most that you can. And this heat is definitely going to be playing a role as these tires begin to degrade here at the Brickyard.
Yeah, for sure. But the track temperature has gone down about 2 degrees from the start of the qualifying session. So I think the track temperature will be going down pretty significantly all day long, because we are in about 4:41 p.m. in the sim, which is relatively late in the day. So I would say that the track towards the end of the race might be 10-15 degrees cooler than it is at the start. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think that's really going to help and improve the racing, because so far we are seeing cars spread out simply because of all the dirty air, but mostly because of the temperatures as well, meaning the tires go off a bit quicker than they usually do.
Indeed, that's what we're watching today, and who can save that fuel? Now, if we take a look, it does look like Orman is starting to drop off. This is last season's winner here at Indy, starting to drop back as he can no longer quite hold with those front two as they swap draft down the straight. Orman trying to come down and get that low line, the apex down in middle of turn 2 and ride it out, but there's only so much you can do with that dirty air about a half a second back from Henry Bennett now. So these drivers going to be settling in for the long haul and having to deal with that dirty air, trying to meter out their space so that they don't over aggressively have to jack up that weight jacker. And the two
weight jacker. One car already got up into the wall, pushed up into it, and that was Anna Jurafy who has hit the wall, and she has gone into the pits to get some damage repaired. She's out on track again on the apron now, letting the entire field go, but her race already pretty much over before it even started because she slapped the wall pretty hard.
We have another car in the background. It is Axel Guillemel, the French driver who just joined the series, hitting the wall. I appreciate that update on Anna. Yeah, that sure got close there. So Axel barely able to limp that car around. We wait to see if I don't think it will bring out a yellow if he can keep that car going. You see the wheel just barely hanging on to the car via the tether. So he'll head into the pits. I don't think he's too concerned about meeting pit road speed.
Nope,
and
it looked like it.
Not interested in saving the life of that pit road cone either. It's a small fine for that. Axel pulls it into his pit box, and unfortunately that will end his contention for the front here. But we're coming up on lap 10. We're almost 10% of the way done, and it is Henry Bennett who leads. He hasn't been leading every single lap, swapping with his teammate at Power Slide, Hugo Olsen, but he's led most of them. And you seem like these two are in control. The gold and green cars on the screen able to hold the front of this race. But look at that. Jesper Orman climbing up on the back of Henry Bennett. And now that Bennett has a little bit of distance to Hugo Olsen, we'll see if Orman can possibly get a run on Bennett. Looks like he's immediately falling back a little bit. That aero push really setting in and affecting these cars. Hugo Olsen that time with the fastest Sector 1 time. So setting some fast times out there while swap drafting for sure with his teammate. Let's take a look back a little bit further and see who's doing what in the field. Well, we do have a yellow flag. Who is that for? Is it Florian Hernandez?
Levine. Matthew Levine. In the wall. Turn 2.
And indeed, the eagle eyes of the young man from the Netherlands pointing it out. There he is, Matthew Levine, SMS Racing driver, frequent front runner, having a moment. And ending up there in turn 2. Let's see if we can back this up and figure out where this one started. I have a number of other notes that happened simultaneously, but let's see if we can tell. Here's side by side Matthew Levine and Thomas Klessens, and you can see Klessens up over the safer barrier. Those two cars still pinned together. Klessens rolls upside down. For Team Spirit Box, an unfortunate moment. Wow, that was something else to behold, and I sure hope that everyone gets cleared out of the medical center because that was a big one. So we'll go back and we'll take a look at that one more time as we take a look from Matthew Levine's point of view. What happened? If we go back to the chopper, nope, there he gets pinned from the right rear. And you see that car, that Dallara IR-18 for Spirit Box of Thomas Klessens, flying overhead. and basically being pinned against that safer barrier. Again, this is why we have these aero screens on these cars, ladies and gentlemen. Saving yet another life in the IndyCar series. Now, here's some big news. Hugo Olsen, Jesper Orman, Henry Bennett, all of these cars now on to pit lane. And we watch them file down towards their pit boxes. Now, who is this going to leave out there? Well, immediately going off strategy, Jesper Orman for Three Crowns Racing is going to take over this lead here. And that will put Will Lyon second, Thomas Christensen third, Erica Lindstrom fourth, David Soranzo fifth at the moment. All these cars electing to stay out. Actually, everybody through eighth place. Mark Johnston electing to stay out. And this is big news, as it will definitely change the potential outcome of this race, with one group now not having stopped, the other one taking on fresh tires on lap 11. So we'll see how this plays out as we go further along, but we will certainly end up with, unless we end up with a caution at exactly the right point for everybody to get back on the same strategy, it's pretty much going to carry this way on till the end. So let's take a look. While we were watching that, there was this other incident that we had notified. This was Florian Hernandez, and I'm not sure, but I believe that was Taylor Mills. Yes, indeed, Taylor Mills just in front with Florian Hernandez in her triumphant return. We were looking forward to so much time that we could spend seeing Taylor Mills carve her way through the field, and it looks like she just drifts up a little bit, and that pretty much puts her into contact there. And that wiping out, as we go back, take one more look at this. Just kind of slides up in front of Florian, no place to go, and then that took out possibly the rear wing or bent the rear suspension. And Taylor Mills now has a bent car. So unfortunate for a number of our top contenders and drivers that we were looking forward to seeing make it to the end here and possibly challenge. But it looks like Taylor Mills, Anna Giorfi, one of our previous fan vote winners, and also Matthew Levine, frequent front runner here, as well as Axel Gumel. You know, Axel had a great race going at Spa. And so just really unfortunate to lose a number of our contenders, but that's really the toughness of Indy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure it is, but it bites you in the worst possible times. You know, you could be having a really good day, and then suddenly it goes wrong for you, and it's just a complete heartbreak. So that's just what Indy is, and it always will be. But I really want to talk about the strategy, by the way. You've mentioned this shortly before. So right now, all the drivers put it on at the end of lap 10, 11. So you could go 3 more stops and go to the end to pit on lap 14 and 17, and then go to the end with a little bit of fuel saving to make it 30 laps. Not much, but a little bit. But if you stayed out, like Jesper Orman, Will Lyon, and Thomas Christensen, it will be difficult. But if you really save a lot, you can make it. But I think they're going to be committed to a 4-stop strategy, at least. So it's going to be interesting from here what they're all going to do. But we'll just have to wait and see, as we always have.
That's always the key. It's not over till it's over, especially here at Indy, and whoever's there at the very end is the one that is going to go home with the milk. Can't wait to find out who that will be. As we get set to go green again here, Jesper Orman with Will Lyon behind, Thomas Christensen in third.
Checkup.
Big checkup there, and a number of drivers forced to put on the brakes. Perhaps Orman looking to get a little bit of an extra gap, and it looks like a little bit of spacing back to Danny. Oh, we've got a big accident.
Oh, just got loose.
I saw a lot of smoke back there. Still trying to find out exactly who it was. I believe it was Sophie Hawk. We haven't been talking about much recently. We'll have to go back and see if we can figure out that one, but we're under our second caution of the day. that Axel Guamel also going off track. Oh, Axel hitting the wall coming out of the pits. So, unfortunately, some damage to that machine. We'll just see how this went down for... I believe it was William Ashworth, who was involved in this incident towards the front, as well as Sophie Hawk. On board with Hawk. And, oh, there is your spinner up in front. And, in fact, that was Guamel. Let's back that up, see if we can tell exactly what happened to him.
It was the white line.
So Guamel, as you can see on board here, dipping down below the white line, maybe making, just getting that yaw angle a little bit wrong, perhaps with those cold tires, and unfortunately sending himself around, and then, the rest of the chaos ensues. Several drivers having to take avoiding lines, but fortunately not too many cars caught up in that one, and that was kind of Axel kind of getting caught up in his own accident. But back at the front, what this will allow is perhaps some of those drivers who didn't come in on the last caution, they're going to stick it out and wait this one out. Are they going to come in now a couple of laps later? Either way, it's a chance to go off strategy of everyone else, and anybody who's in the back, they might just come in and take some fuel, top off on fuel, take tires. This is it's again, yet another chance to kind of break away from everyone else's strategy.
Yeah, but I don't think it makes much sense to not pit right now, because we're 17 laps into this stint. Remember that we had a few caution laps, of course, but we're pretty much over halfway into the fuel stint, or approaching the halfway of the fuel stint for the leaders that stayed out. So really it doesn't make sense, at least to me, why you would stay out. I think they have to pit now to at least make something out of their race. If they don't, they're going to be very dependent on the cautions, which are very unlikely now. We've had 2 cautions. We've kind of had the attrition play out already. So I think from now on, we're going to be pretty clean and green, I'd say, maybe with a few cautions, 1 or 2, but nothing more than that, I would say. So it doesn't really make sense to stay out and really, I guess, mess up your race in this way. You just have to pit and make the most of it from here.
Yes, indeed. And some drivers are going to do that. Some drivers undoubtedly are going to take those chances. Anything I can do if I'm in the back or if I'm a lap down or whatever, just to try to break away from everyone else's strategy. But we'll be doing one more lap here under caution and then getting this one back underway. Like to take this moment to, of course, thank Julian Altena for joining me here in the booth. Always a pleasure to have you with us. And, of course, also Jessica Sabin and Joshua Vilda running the PMRL. They're doing a fantastic job as stewards. Always so supportive and doing great on the social media. Appreciate that. As always, love having everybody join us here on YouTube, letting us know what's going on, where you are in your part of the world, and who you're rooting on. Always a fun thing. But, of course, we also would love to thank our donators here on VirtualRacing.Network, and you'll see the scroll I put at the bottom. These are recent donators who have helped us to grow and continue to help us to grow. We thank them tremendously. If you'd like to learn how you can help out, link is down in the description, as well as if you'd like to get signed up with iRacing or the Prime Meridian Racing League. Info is down there. You're just going to go through iRacing and contact Jessica Sabin, and we will get you in at some point and get you set up so that we can see your name up there on the timing tower. But as always, thanks to Vopsy.com and Majors Garage for their support of the Prime Meridian Racing League. Now, Vopsy, as you notice there on that leading car for Jesper Orman, as well as Thomas Christensen, Erica Lindstrom, designer of those liveries. So if you need one, that's somebody to talk to, Vopsy.com. She does great work. Back to this one, though. We're working on lap 18, about to go green again on lap 19. It's still Jesper Orman and Will Lyon who have taken over the lead of this one, as there's a split strategy in the field with a number of the front runners, including Hugo Olsen and Henry Bennett, deciding to fall back to the mid-pack and beyond and take their pit stops a little earlier. Here's Jesper Orman into turn 1 on lap number 19. Pretty much single file behind as these cars start to get warmed up. Christensen's looking a little aggressive, like he might want to take this position. There he goes down the inside of Will Lyon. And now, my goodness, all takes both positions in one go. That was very risky. I don't know if Jesper thought he was coming or not. But
yeah,
now,
you don't really see that often too.
well, these drivers would be talking on the same team channel, so possibly communicating some information about what they're going to do. There comes David Soranzo into the picture, the red and white car drifting up high on Erika Lindstrom a little bit, but now working his way into 4th place. He's up 4 spots today. Back at the front, it's pretty much nose to tail for Orman and Christensen, fellow Swedes, who are now doing the same swap drafting techniques that we saw Team Powerslide doing, and now this is coming over for Three Crowns Racing with IAR. And if these drivers are patient enough, they might have help from Erika Lindstrom or Matthew Turner from Three Crowns Racing, as well as Alexis Newsom. So at the moment, Three Crowns Racing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in the top 10. Only Severi Seppa back in 14th is outside the top 10. So great positioning this early in the race for the Three Crowns team. So we continue, Julian, and it's looking, I mean, if you just replace the names in 1st and 2nd and 3rd with Thomas Christensen and Jesper Orman and Will Lyon, you'd think we were watching the first 10 laps of Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen and Jesper Orman, because this was exactly what we just saw at the beginning of the last stint, where Will Lyon is not really going anywhere from 3rd, and these front 2 are swap drafting. But soon enough, we will see some action shake out as David Soranzo is, hey, he's not waiting for anything. And by the way, that time by Jesper Orman, fastest first sector of the race. So currently fastest lap belonging to, I believe that is Will Lyon, the 41:32. Nope, I'm sorry.
No.
41, is it 41:13? 41:03. I'll try to dig up. Sorry, go ahead.
Alexis Newsom. Yeah. Alexis Newsom 41.03 is the fastest lap at the moment.
There you go. I was looking in the wrong column. 41:03. Well, either way, it's Three Crowns Racing with IAR driver now with the fastest lap of the race. Alexis Newsom showing some of that speed that she's known for. There she is. Currently running in 11th place. She's going to have to make up some ground if she wants to challenge for this win today. But Andreas Eich to the inside for Team Talent. It's a very familiar name. Oh, and Alexis right up against the wall. I'm not sure if she made contact with Henry, with, no, who is that on the outside? I believe that's the lap car, possibly of Taylor Mills. Indeed it is, the lap car of Taylor Mills there on the outside. Very, very close to these front runners. But Andreas Eich, here's as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, here's another name to watch out for. 2nd place last season here at Indy, and currently looking for more. He's trying to crack into that top 10, but he's got a battle on his hands with I believe that is just Taylor Mills just ahead, and then Sam Blackwood not far ahead from that. There he is in the green, or I'm sorry, in the gray car. So Sam Blackwood, last week's fan vote winner, drove a great race at Spa up to 12th place. And another yellow. Someone's made a boo-boo. We don't know who it was. There's no notes. Do you see anything, Julian?
No, I don't really see anything. It was an admin caution though, so I'm not really sure why it was thrown. Maybe, I don't know, the first thing that comes to mind is debris, but we don't have that on iRacing, so I honestly don't know.
We'll call it a debris caution. That's fine. Not
Raindrops.
Really. Raindrops, yes. Weepers in turn one. No, in fact, well, safety caution or what have you. If it was exactly on lap 25, you'd figure this was stage racing, but it's not. So first stage complete here on lap 26, and it is Jesper Orman and Thomas Christensen 1-2 thus far for Three Crowns Racing with IAR. But if you take a look back, not very far to 9th place, it's Hugo Olsen and Henry Bennett who stopped on lap 12 to take tires and fuel, and so they are off strategy. Now the question is it advantageous for everybody who didn't stop to come in at this point, and will we see them? We're about to find out.
Yeah, well, definitely, but it's a little bit on the early side of the window, so I'm not really sure how this is going to shake out all the way, but for now at least, this is for sure the right call to make, because you just gotta pit, because we're near the pit window already. So yeah, that's gonna leave the people that pitted on lap 12 gonna cycle back to the front. But I quickly want to mention, by the way, Alexis Newsom, before the caution came out, she passed a car on the outside of turn 1, and she even hit the wall, and it was a pretty significant hit. But I was on board with her for a few corners before the caution came out, and she really wasn't losing any speed. So it's really impressive that her car can still pull some good speed despite being slightly damaged.
Indeed, and you never really know when you do take on a little bit of damage, whether that is going to affect your car, bend the steering, or whether it's just a superficial blow. But you know, if you can ever get the lucky side of that and not lose any top end speed, boy, you just breathe a real deep deep breath of relief, sigh of relief, and try not to do that again. But you know, in that particular situation, there's not much sometimes you just get caught into certain situations, and really that's when you have these drivers that are this skilled, this talented. They know how to not crash. They know how to not make you know, a dangerous incident, and they don't typically push the envelope to the point where they know it's going to break. But when you have variables that you don't control, like where other drivers are positioning their cars and that aero push, sometimes it's just very difficult to, you know, always end up in the right place at the right time, no matter how talented you are. So Alexis coming off of a win and very fortunate not to do more damage, but Three Crowns Racing driver with IAR. She's another one of those drivers we were really hoping that we'd get a chance to see her driving more here, especially with Philip Lee dropping out. Unfortunately, this season, not able to contest. Looks like William Ashworth, our only other driver from the United States, although that's set incorrectly. So William Ashworth actually from England. So actually today, Alexis Newsom, the only driver from the United States. So that, you know, love to see more American participation over here. From my standpoint, out here on the West Coast of the United States, being able to do these broadcasts, this is always a great time to be able to get on and do some iRacing. So for anybody out there who's on the East Coast, West Coast, wants to give these guys a challenge, and very talented ladies, obviously, as well, head on over to the link in the description, and you'll find the PMRL League. Go ahead and get signed up, and tell them that Trevor sent you. And that will do nothing for you. Back to the race here, Julian, on lap 28. Guess who's back in front? It's Powerslide Motorsports teammates Hugo Olsen and Henry Bennett. with
Yeah.
Sam Blackwood. Yeah. Sam Blackwood there in third. Hey, this did work out exactly like we thought. They are reversed around. So now everybody only taking one stop until you get back to Alexis Newsom. Well, actually, the first car would be Jesper Orman and Will Lyon, who came in on this round of pit stops on lap 26. And the only a couple of drivers who have done more than one pit stop. But looking forward to seeing how this one's going to shake out. So much strategy. I think we've got 3 different strategies happening at the moment. Will Hugo Olsen floor it, or will he kind of check up the field a little bit? Looks like it's going to check up as he's very late to get on the gas, and there he goes. Lap 29, and we are
There was
green.
one car on the inside. I don't know, there was one car on the inside that just passed like 5-6 cars on the inside. I don't know what happened there, but surely there's going to be a black flag from iRacing. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I just saw what happened. I was like, what?
And we're live right now with Soranzo, who was on a monster run there, and we were just following him live. He passed several cars on that start, and unfortunately got it wrong in turn 1 and spun out there in the short chute, but catching nobody else. We are still green here on lap 29.
Crazy.
Absolutely crazy, for sure. But no caution. And so that, fortunately, well, it's like,
all right then.
It was like somebody was listening into the broadcast and said, okay, Trevor, well, that's enough of your predictions. No caution. Well, here's your caution. 4th caution of the day here at the Prime Meridian Racing League's round number 5 in Indianapolis. We haven't really gotten a long enough green stint to really see how everyone is going to do over the stint. But at this point, I would say a lot of these drivers' fuel-saving strategy is certainly out the window.
Not sure if I agree with that. We still have 70 laps to go when we go green, probably 68, 67 laps. So you will have to save some fuel to make it on one more stop from then on, from the green flag. But yeah, we just this is going to be our most popular sentence of the season. We just have to wait and see.
Oh, this could indeed be. What's happened to Erica Lindstrom on pit road? Looks like trying to make it into the pits with a broken machine. Poor Erica Lindstrom. Not quite able to get that one stopped with just 3 wheels on that IR-18.
Oh, she got the wall. Lap 29. This must have been what the caution was thrown for then, because she, Erica, hit the wall on the outside of turn 3 and just skidded alongside the safer wall and brought the car down into the pits and, like you said, struggled to get it into the box, but was there in the end.
Well, that's as much of excitement as we've had from any one of these incidents. Fortunately, Erica getting that damage fixed and back underway, having lost 1 lap in the process. Not impossible to get that lap back, but from seeing Erica running up there in the top 5 not that long ago, that's just how, again, we talked about how tough this place is. You make a small mistake here, and unfortunately, it's going to cost you majorly. As we see a taker here, Andreas Eick, as well as Sophie Hawk, coming down into the pits. So I have Taylor Mills bringing it into the pits. Now Taylor is also down, I believe, 2 laps now. So this is kind of just a freebie stop for her. But Ike there now falling down to 9th. So this is in fact some risky strategy. Why do I'm seeing a note here. I just want to verify this. Hugo Olsen. This, you're seeing it on your screen now. He was behind the pace car and something went wrong in pacing, losing control, not hitting the wall and continuing. So has iRacing directed him to reclaim those positions? It does appear so. So we go back to the live picture here with Hugo. back up in front. So, strange doings here in Indianapolis. It's getting weirder by the minute, Julian, and that's just the way we love it here at VirtualRacing.Network.
Yeah, Halloween was 3 days ago. I don't know what's going on today. Scary stuff here. I'm scared to get into the car for my next race, to be honest.
Where are you racing next, Julian?
Actually, I think it is not this weekend, but the next. So quite a while from now. Actually, I have a few days off, which is nice, but still, I don't think I want to race when I see this stuff happening.
Well, you know, and again, you could go 100 laps or 1,000 laps and have nothing crazy happens, and then sometimes it just seems like you're in that race. That one race is just chaotic. It's caution filled, or there's just little incidents happening. I've done enough of these oval official races in fixed and in the open series that it just takes on that quality. Like sometimes at Gateway, it's not even who you're racing. It just seems like the race is, dare I say, cursed. Not this one, but some of those races get to feel that way, where it's like it doesn't go more than 2 or 3 laps without somebody doing something silly and causing a caution. But you see this in real life IndyCar as well at Indy, where cautions breed cautions, as they say. And so, just some strange things. And I can say over the years in the different races, some very, very big names I've seen make mistakes or get it wrong at the front. And in real life, who can forget Danny Sullivan's spin and win? Spinning and coming back later, able to take the victory. One of the classic Indianapolis 500 finishes. So we're just about a third of the way done with this one, and thus far I couldn't even begin to tell you who's going to win it, except for Hugo Olsen and Henry Bennett are still at the front of this, and I wouldn't count them out. So you got to feel pretty good if you're Power Slide Motorsports right now in a fixed setup series, able to kind of lock out the front in qualifying, and able to, thus far, be one of just a couple of drivers able to own the front of this race. So the pace car's lights are off, and we're about to get back underway. Hugo Olsen leads us to the green flag once again after our 4th caution. It's the Prime Meridian Racing League right here live on VirtualRacing.Network. I'm Trevor Greenfield alongside Julian Altena as they race into turn 1 once again.
Clean this time.
Pretty clean. And now there is some racing just a little ways back. It's just for Orman on the inside of William Ashworth. Just as I say that battle dies down. But Ashworth trying to chase down the gold and blue machine. See if he can manage to get up there. Here's another driver we haven't been talking about too much yet as Florian Fernandez dives down the inside. It's Mark Johnston for drivedoctors.co.uk. He's been a frequent front runner here. Again, last week at Spa, he had another phenomenal drive coming forward. He's somebody to definitely watch out, as he might take a chance at cracking up into the top 10 before this one is too far. Look back at the front, though. It's Hugo Olsen continuing with his teammate Henry Bennett just behind. Henry in that classic green and red livery become distinct. And honestly, these two drivers in their liveries very quickly cementing themselves as legends here in the iRacing IndyCar community. Certainly, anytime you see any race in IndyCar, you see these two paint schemes, you know exactly who's behind the wheel. So great to have their participation. And it's Hugo down the inside again on Henry Bennett, and Bennett immediately pulls back to the inside, sets up for another swap draft. Hey, I'll tell you what, who's in third right now, Julian? It's Sam Blackwood, last week's fan vote winner. making another hard charge. Coming up 6 positions from 9th. He's up into 3rd, and he's now taking a look at the back of the Power Slide Motorsports cars, and there is a caution.
Again.
Matthew Levine, I'm seeing there, Matthew Levine having problems on the front straight. We'll see if we can back that up and take a look at that one a little closer. Oh, really ending up in some traffic there. Let's see if we can tell as we go a little bit slower. That is Mark Johnston just ahead and Matthew Turner. And so on the outside, Levine, and it looks like Johnston just kind of moves up, isn't really aware that there is an overlap. That chops off the nose of Levine, and from that point on, it is just like riding a passenger bus wherever it wants to take you. You see the front left chopped off, and that SMS machine had a custom livery before this one started, and now unfortunately dragging Ian Bell's face on the ground. That's not the way that Matthew Levine wanted today to turn out. So that will bring out our 5th caution of the day. And once again, we'd love to just thank everybody for tuning in here, VirtualRacing.Network. We really do appreciate it. And Clary letting us know, rooting for Team Spirit Box from the Czech Republic. Awesome. Great to have you rooting on. And also Jessica Sabin, the PMRL admin family, stopping in, letting us know that she thinks it should be a great one too. Of course, it's already been one of the most fascinating races that we've covered here. Multiple different chaoses, but I think we still got a show in store for the end of this one, as now Hugo Olsen's going to lead this train. We wait till like the last second to make sure that he doesn't bail out, as Jesper Orman did there in the back. You see Danny Brennan doing the same thing in the green car, but Hugo Olsen, Henry Bennett now choosing to come in and get this next pit stop done on lap 39. Sam Blackwood following suit, as well as Severi Seppa. So a number of these front-running cars now in the pits, continuing to, make that choice to stay on this alternate fuel strategy.
Yeah, it's just outside the pit window as well for one more stop, so with a bit of saving, you should be able to make it relatively easily, especially considering you're going to be in quite a bit of traffic now as well, with a few cars staying out too. So I think early on in the stint, on the restart, they will probably save the most because they have to lift off, and if you're smart, you do it in map 5, maybe even map 8 into the turns to lift off and save some more fuel. So you could extend the fuel stint by a lap or 2 then for this stint, and then do the same again on the last stint and then go to the end. You do have to make sure that you have something in reserve for the end, because you got to be able to push with like 3 or 5 laps to go, so you don't lose out on any positions. But the dirty air around this place, which I don't think we mentioned much, we did once or twice, but it's a really big factor. The 2 leaders are able to swap draft pretty nicely, but once you're in P3 or further down, it becomes really difficult to follow. And when you're like 6th or 7th in line as well, the dirty air is so much you can really run anywhere, because it doesn't matter anymore where the dirty air is, because you got so much coming in front of you. So that's gonna spice it up in the midfield, but towards the front, it will be a pretty boring race if you're in the 3rd position.
I mean, but ultimately, that's if you're in 3rd, there's always a chance the front 2 are going to make a mistake. You're always watching to see if somebody drifts up a little extra high and you can make that attack on them. I mean, the real issue is that with this aero push and the way that it forces you to run the car, unless those front 2 do make a mistake, it's not really going to give you a chance to necessarily make a pass here. And obviously that's something that we have some expected changes coming in the next couple of years. Going to get a brand new IndyCar in a couple of years, but also there are some floor updates that have not yet been brought to this car that will improve that kind of racing. Nevertheless, the real issue is that you're not going to see the front 2, whether it's 3 Crowns Racing or it's Power Slide Motorsports. You're not going to see that front 2 making mistakes very often and giving you a chance to attack. So as you mentioned, owning that front 1 or 2 positions is going to be very valuable real estate at the end of this one. Now, if you're watching for who's forming up at the front, we'll take a look at this. First place right now is Three Crowns Racing's Jesper Orman. Got Danny Brennan hanging on in second place for Wyvern Racing. That is fantastic news for the Wyvern fans out there, Danny Brennan fans, for certain. Alexis Newsom, there she is. We knew she'd be up there eventually. She last pitted on lap 26 with the rest of these front runners, but she, as well as Thomas Christensen, and there's Matthew Turner for Three Crowns Racing. All 4 of these drivers in the top 5 for Three Crowns Racing with IAR. And you talk about teamwork and what they might be able to do together. Let's see whether the teamwork is able to keep away that pesky Power Slide Motorsports duo that are currently running back in 10th and 11th. So we get set once again after our 5th caution of the day. Lap 40 going into 41. It's the familiar navy and gold of Jesper Orman leading us back to the green flag. And Danny Brennan, your second place driver. It looks like Anna Jorfi getting caught in between them. And there we take a look at Brennan, who's going to be very quickly under attack from Alexis Newsom. But Brennan with the lighter fuel load, now taking a look down to the inside of Jorfi. And getting around almost. They actually race side by side through 3 and now 4 onto the front straight. So Danny Brennan having a fantastic run, running in second position. If you're a Danny Brennan fan out there in the chat room, let's hear it. Let us know what you think, because this has been a good one so far. Hopefully you're enjoying it out there in 4K ultra high definition. We're going to see Danny Brennan make a lunge for this lead, Julian.
Yeah, I was just noticing his speed down the backstretch. He was so fast down into turn 3 there. It really looked incredible. So let's see what he can do here down the front stretch. And Orman is on the outside line. He doesn't really contest it too much. And there you go, Danny Brennan to the lead at Indy.
Danny Brennan taking over the lead at the Indianapolis 250 here on VirtualRacing.Network, Prime Meridian Racing League's round number 5 of season 2. It's Danny Brennan to the lead over Jesper Orman. And I don't think, that's probably not going to concern Jesper too much, but he wants that clean air. He's going back to the inside, trying to look and see if he can take that position back from Danny. And of course, just behind Jesper Orman, there she is. The cavalry has arrived. It's Alexis Newsom from Kentucky in third here at Indianapolis. Fourth place is Three Crowns Racing driver Thomas Christensen, and then Matthew Turner for Three Crowns Racing. So currently second, third, fourth, and fifth, Three Crowns Racing holding down the front of this field. And I'm also seeing Matthew Turner making moves to get around Anna Jorfi and officially wedge an enormous wedge between Jesper Orman and the Power Slide Motorsports duo back there. They're going to have to go through quite a few teammates at Three Crowns Racing before they can get up there.
It's like a huge wall, isn't it? Teammate.
The Great Wall of Three Crowns Racing forming at the front of this one. But there's still some great names in the field that are just a little bit back from there. Florian Fernandez for Hyperion Esports coming forward, and we've got a car off in the back. I believe it's Severi Seppa. We've got 3 cars involved. It's Severi Seppa. Will Lyon getting his nose chopped off. That's your championship leading driver. Getting his nose completely removed on that car. We look on board, and unfortunately, that's 2 cars for SMS Racing that have been dragging Ian Bell's nose in the dirt. And There will be repercussions for sure at SMS HQ for that, but I don't think that was his fault. We're going to try to take a look back here, see if we can figure out what exactly happened. So we have a note that Severi Seppa going off track, and there you can see, let's just back it up from that point as multiple cars making contact. If we take a look at Will Lyon, we'll go slow here and see exactly what took place. So on the inside of Will Lyon, and then Will just kind of drifts up the track. Weirdly enough, just in front of Will, it was, who is that? Is that Taylor Mills? Yes, indeed. Taylor Mills getting into the wall as well. And then cars just kind of careening off of the walls and each other like a pinball game. Unfortunate, but these drivers having a big incident here on lap 46. Wow, that cost a few more drivers out of this field, including championship favorite Will Lyon, who now comes down pit lane. Here's another driver we haven't been talking about too much, but always great to see him now to have him in the Prime Meridian Racing League. This is Manuel Gomez Esteban, the Spaniard racing for Team Mazinger, and also you see the Super Mango Supermarket sponsorship on. Been running a lot in the US IndyCar League, which is on every Sunday at 10 o'clock Eastern Time if you're in the United States. Be 7 hours later now for this week. Actually, yep. we reset Sunday morning, so don't quote me, but look into our YouTube channel. We'll get the video right. Make sure that you subscribe. That's the benefit of that. If you subscribe and you tick on the notifications, you'll find out. But you can also see Manuel Gomez Esteban over there in the US IndyCar League. And it's always great to see these drivers kind of spreading out laterally and doing more leagues. And of course, we're always happy to bring them more exposure here on VirtualRacing.Network. So Danny Brennan, your leader here, under caution, our sixth caution of the day on lap 47. Haven't made it to halfway yet. Are we going to have 12 cautions today, Julian?
It's looking likely right now. The track is going to get cooler too, so the racing might even get more chaotic. So the track temperature right now is 37 degrees, which is down 5 from, down 7 from the start of the session. So I think we're going to see a little bit more pack-like racing like we've seen with the old tire model. With the cooler conditions, you definitely see a little bit more of that. It was hotter earlier on in the race where you saw cars spread out quite a bit, but I think that's really going to change right now with the track temperature cooling down this much.
Well, so far, we haven't gotten a long enough stint in to tell whether that track temperature being up at 37. Now, it has come down quite a bit, as you mentioned. Also, 14-kilometer cross breeze, which can really affect things. We didn't really talk too much about that, but it is enough of a breeze that it can cause issues when you're in the draft, for certain. But we haven't gone long enough on a stint to really see the hotter temperature play a factor yet on tire wear so much. Everybody able to cool down these tires on the yellow flags and able to get in and get the tires that they need. So let's see, anybody who would have taken tires. Okay, so now our first drivers in this group on the same lap, it's Florian Fernandez, who came in on lap 46 and took tires and fuel. Mark Johnston also. And so this is very interesting because now you have this group leading the off strategy, so to speak. I mean, we've got, if I go through the field, we've got multiple drivers on different lap strategies as far as when they came into the pits. So we've got like 3 different groups. One group coming in on lap 26, that's all the front 5. And then 38 starting from position 7 back, that's Hugo Olsen. And then lap 46 from 10th place, William Ashforth. going back from there. So 3 totally different strategies. You see it there on your screen. A little difficult to keep up with, but we're trying here. And speaking of trying, hey, it's Danny Brennan, a driver we haven't been seeing in the lead of too many of these races, but here he is out in front at Indianapolis. It's a driver's dream come true, leading us to green here on lap 49, just about to get halfway through.
So going into turn 1, then on the restart, I think Trevor's had a few beeps, so I'm going to cover it for now. We've got Danny Brennan out in the lead, Jasper Orman following in P2, and Alexis Newsom now. Gonna have a look as well at this battle. Going into turn 3 now. As Alexis is riding the higher line here, looking for the clean air. Gonna try to make the most of that and get a run down the front stretch. And look how close Jasper Orman is to the back end of Danny Brennan. As we go across the out of brakes once again to cross the line, and we are halfway into the race now as Thomas Christensen is now going to pull to the inside as well and have a look for P4 as Danny Brennan and Jasper Orman continue to battle, but Danny Brennan holds on to the lead. And we have a 6-car battle for the race lead right now. It's a very exciting time here at Indy. As, this is so close between Orman and Brennan so early on in the race. You really don't want to be this close early on. We're just over halfway into this one, so there's still a long way to go. But these guys are for sure pulling off some great moves, and it's great to watch. But it's a very high-risk move that you're going to try to make. As this is a real pack race at the moment, which I was talking about under the caution. The track temperature going down significantly from the start. And look at this, across the yard of bricks, almost 3 wide across the line, 2 rows deep. And I don't even know what's happening right now. This is going to be impossible to keep up with. And I hope Trevor's got the TV cameras directed at this battle for the lead, because this is insane right now. All the cars moving every bit of the racetrack. Now remember that the tires will be going off in a few laps time maybe. So you won't be seeing this type of racing for the entire stint. But let's hope that it lasts for a few more laps so we can actually enjoy it. But it will die down eventually. As we go through turn 4 again, across the line, and it looks like Alexis Newsom, yes, she is going to the lead right now, in front of Jasper Orman. Danny Brennan dropping down to P3 now, as Jasper Orman takes the lead on the inside of Alexis Newsom. As Brennan and Christensen also going side by side now, sorting themselves out again. So, great bit of racing, very pack racing-like, but it's great to watch as William Ashworth has crashed. Let's wait and see if we're going to get a caution. Not sure if we will be, so we stay green for now, it appears.
Wow, that's some fantastic coverage you're doing there, Julian. It's like you're a professional broadcaster, like you've done this before.
Oh, yeah, I did. I never done this before, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course, Julian, you cover all of the Velocity online racing events and doing a fantastic job there. Anybody who wants to check that out, make sure you do search for Velocity Online Racing on YouTube, and you'll get to see some great IndyCar action with a lot of names you might recognize from this group. But there it is, as Julian was mentioning. Hey, look who it is now to the lead. It's Kentuckian Alexis Newsom, our lone American in the field, who has marched forward here, taking that lead from Jasper Orman, with Danny Brennan now back in third, hanging on for Wyvern Racing, just hoping for Sam Blackwood from 9th place to get up there and help out Danny just a little bit, lend a hand there as Danny getting swallowed into this Three Crowns Racing sandwich. But Alexis able to walk off the front a little bit, and Orman now sitting in second place as they do the swap drafting that we saw Power Slide doing before and saw a little bit from Jesper earlier on. Danny Brennan having a fantastic race. Christensen running in fourth, up 2 spots. Nothing compared to Danny Brennan up 10 spots, and Alexis Newsom currently up 8 spots on the day as they go side by side into turn 1. But Christensen having a fantastic day and hanging on, looking in his rear view. That's going to be a car that he doesn't want to see back there. That's going to be, well, between him and Hugo Olsen is another car, but that's David Soranzo, but he's a lap down. There, Hugo Olsen in that gold car, now trying to work on David Soranzo. And as we mentioned, 3 totally different pit strategies happening at the moment. So how this works out in the long run, we don't know. But right now, it's Hugo Olsen down to the inside of David Soranzo, trying to get right up on the back of Thomas Christensen and put himself in place for the end of this race. Olsen now tries to look to the outside of Christensen, now works back to the inside, not able to get that one done. But I get the feeling that Olsen is on the march. He's ready to move forward. He's taking this draft out of Christensen. Looking at that closing rate, backing out very early. So perhaps still on that massive fuel save that you're talking about, Julian.
Yeah, it might be something that you're trying to consider, because you're going to be in a huge wall of dirty air anyway, so you might as well try and at least open up your options towards the end of the race. Because you're not really going to go anywhere, even if you go aggressive. You can look for the clean air you want, but you're really not going to get it at all. So might as well try save some fuel and make the most of the situation later on.
Absolutely. Right now, lap 57, they're not giving any trophies away for leading lap 57. You just got to be there lap 99, lap 100. That's the only one that matters. As Alexis now takes her chance at the front, working very well with teammate Jesper Orman just behind.
That's close. Also almost hit Christensen coming out of turn 2, but they got away with it.
Well, Christensen retaining that lead, but for how long? And this is exactly like I was mentioning before. If you're Jesper Orman, you're Alexis Newsom up in the front of this one. Now Jesper has a chance at this Oval Championship, and also is doing quite well in the points. And so, as we see Olsen now continuing to try the inside of Christensen, if you're Olsen, if you're Orman, or you're Newsom right now, you want Christensen back there fighting Olsen as hard as he can for this position, so that it forces Olsen to have to use up those tires. And that's one of the benefits of being part of one of these bigger teams, is you can have that kind of teamwork where maybe some of the drivers might look out for each other and try and play tail gunner. So right now, Christensen, as we talk about it over in the Indy Fix series that we do broadcast here on VirtualRacing.Network on Thursdays with Gary Godso, the Mass Devils racing team loves the reference to Batman to a Robin. And so right now, Christensen playing Robin for Orman's Batman.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing, by the way, is that Christensen is really backing up his corners like it's a road course. He's going into the corner really wide and then tries to cut back down the inside and then get a straight run off the exit, which is strange in my opinion on an oval, but it's working for him to at least hold off Hugo Olsen and make him burn up his tires. Hugo did get a good run out of turn 2 the previous lap though, and again here across the start-finish line, but he's just not able to get by him, which is exactly what Christensen is trying to do, just making Hugo burn up his tires so he can't really do anything towards the end of this thing, and of course helping out his teammates as well.
Well, you talk about it, and Indy is one of those tracks where you can definitely utilize different lines to your advantage, depending whether you're in front, in the back, you've got air push or not. It just really depends on what your competitor is doing in front of you. But if you know it, as you can see here, Hugo able to get down to the low side on Christensen through the corner, but Christensen faster off the corner. And, well, we watched a couple of drivers really struggle as they came down low in the corner and got down below that white line, but Hugo Olsen able to use that mostly to his benefit. And they go side by side coming off of turn 2. So these drivers really racing each other hard. Hugo's really trying to get around. He has had just about enough of Thomas Christensen by now, I'm sure. But Christensen also the same way, probably swatting at Olsen like a pesky fly on his backside in the summer. We'll see which one of these two Swedish drivers will end up on top today. You know, Olsen with that huge Indy 500 win before, is definitely one of the favorites today, but wow, he just pulled a massive run off of that corner and able to take that position from Christensen.
Yeah, almost wanted to call it a slide job NASCAR sub, even though I don't watch NASCAR, but still, that was a great move there to pass him. He's finally ahead now, so he can open up his charge on Danny Brennan now, who continues to be the biggest mover of the day. But Alexis Newsom, I said this in the beginning of the race, she hit the wall pretty hard in the beginning, so I would say she has some damage, but I don't know how she's doing it, but she's still going out in the lead, battling Jasper Orman for that race lead. And I just don't know what else to say other than I'm really impressed to see her still running at the front. Alexis Newsom, that is.
So, as you said, yes, of course, Alexis tapping the wall, but again, it's just one of those things that you're used to. You know, you hear that little scrape up there and, well, am I missing a wheel? Does my steering wheel still go straight? Have I lost any top end speed? If none of those three have happened, then you don't really care, and you just check it off as I got lucky on that one. And now we've got Hugo Olsen, who's gotten around Danny Brennan for third position, and now Hugo is going to have to try to get through Alexis Newsom to get a crack at this win. So will he try to work the inside on Alexis Newsom like he did, or Jesper Orman like he did Thomas Christensen all those laps, finally able to get around? Will we see something new out of Hugo's toolbox? That will be fun to find out. Meanwhile, Christensen fighting now side by side for a minute there with Andreas Eick. And Eick up into sixth place, so gained a spot since where he qualified. Was running a little bit further back earlier on, and wow, gets very close. They're coming up the track to the backside of Thomas Christensen, but Eick is just one of those drivers that, once again, you just can't count out week in and week out, especially on these ovals. Always seems to have a nose for getting up there to the front right at the right time. Back here at the front, it's changing lap by lap, but overall it's still the same two in the front two positions. It is Jesper Orman and Alexis Newsom for Three Crowns Racing, who have dominated and led most of the laps here after Powerslide Motorsports teammates of Hugo Olsen and Henry Bennett decided to give up their lead on the first caution of the day and take tires and fuel in an opposite strategy. And now Olsen has come forward to third, is going to have to try to work on Alexis Newsom as Jesper Orman now makes a pit stop, splitting strategies with Alexis Newsom. And I don't know if he got in, and I don't know if Thomas Christensen back there made it down to the right speed. But these drivers now making their pit stop out of sequence of everyone else who is in the top five.
You might see Alexis Newsom in this lap though, because she pitted on the same lap as Orman and Christensen. So I think you're almost at the fuel window. Yeah, you were actually right on the fuel window for about 30 laps. 32 laps even, with some fuel saving in traffic. Yes, there you go, Alexis Newsom into the pits. So that leaves Hugo Olsen out in the lead now, who pitted on lap 38, so he can go on for about 12 more laps.
Well, 12 more laps will put him, I think, perfect for the end of this one if it were to go green, and that seems to be Hugo's MO, is to figure out exactly when to pit so that you can make it to the end on a green flag stop, but on a green flag stint. But nevertheless, so many strategies to play out here As you see, Henry Bennett, Powerslide Motorsports teammate, able to claw up to third there with those other drivers coming into the pits. And now, where are they? Well, Three Crowns Racing teammates, Alexis Newsom coming out of the pits and going to cycle back into 11th. Let's go ahead and get the track map up there so you can tell where your favorite drivers are in relation to each other. There's Alexis Newsom and Sophie Hawk now pitting from 10th position. Alexis going to take over that position as she comes around the front straightaway here. So back up at the front, though, it's Hugo Olsen in first. And now Andreas Ike dropping into the pits. If we can ever get to him. There he is, Andreas Ike in the pits along with Sophie Hawk. And Sophie heads back out. And that time by, Jillian Hugo setting the fastest sector 2 time. So lighter fuel load coming in last time on lap 38. My goodness, he's been out there a long time. Very light fuel load along with Henry Bennett, who currently is running in second place, 2.6 seconds back of Hugo. But,
yeah, nice bit of clean air.
Yeah, clean air, little draft from Danny Brennan in front, who's already made a pit stop. And this is what Hugo does best, in-laps and out-laps. I mean, not best, but one of the things that Hugo does best is these in-laps and out-laps. 40.83, Hugo with his purple best lap. And is that the best overall today? I believe it is. Yes.
Yes, it is.
40.83, that last time by. Hugo Olsen, fastest lap of the race. So currently it looks like he's working with a green car out there, but that's not his teammate, Henry Bennett, who has chosen to make a pit stop. Yes, he did. And so now he's coming back out. So Bennett coming back out onto the track and going to cycle back out in 9th position now. Slides right back in behind Jesper Orman. And Andreas Ike, look at this group here fighting it out for 8th place. This is Jesper Orman, Andreas Ike. You see the red and white car, I believe, of David Soranzo trapped in between those two. And then there's Henry Bennett in the green machine. Thomas Christensen just back up the road from there, just 0.3 of a second. So this gaggle of cars is really your front group on the track, with the exception of Hugo Olsen, who's still out there running on that same tank of fuel.
Yeah, Hugo also can short fuel as well to the end of the race, by the way, so that's probably going to shave a second or two, maybe even 3 seconds off his pit stop time. So that could be another big difference as the run goes on, but don't forget that he was also pushing before he was going to come into the pits. He had about a 4-second gap on Henry Bennett when Henry pitted, so he has got a bit of a buffer already on the rest of the field. So it's just going to be a case of if he can nail the in or out laps, the pit entrance and exit, to make sure that he maintains or extends that gap. But so far, this battle for P7 this is great to watch as they still go side by side, and we have a caution.
We are yellow. I believe it's Sophie Hawk. We're going to go to that in just a second. This allows Hugo essentially a free stop. This is not what the rest of the field would have wanted to see whatsoever, as Will Lyon and Hugo Olsen get a free stop out of this one, and that is going to cement their position at the front of this field, as the rest of the field will now have to pit for their final stop. So Julian, this one now just turned on its ear yet again.
Yeah, it really did. This is really going to shake up the strategy now. So with 25 laps to go, of course, you're going to be able to make it to the end from here, which is going to be a big sprint, but you're probably also going to see a few people that are going to try and stay out to maybe gain some track position. So it's going to be an interesting end to this one for sure, this Indy 250.
Well, after all of those pit stops cycling, and we've got more to go, it is Mark Johnston who will get credit for leading a lap here, but he last pitted on lap 46 as well. So is he running out of fuel? He's run out of fuel. He's complete.
Oh, no.
Or no, he's waiting for the pace car to go by. There you go. I thought it was going. I thought it was very close. Perhaps too close. I've seen that before, where drivers have run out of fuel, not being able to make it into the pits on the lap that they absolutely needed to get into the pits. But this yellow flag would have helped some of their fuel mileage a little bit. Nevertheless, Johnston, Seppa, and Manuel Gomez Esteban now in third place. So just proving that with pit stop strategy, certainly, as he comes in and leads. I believe that's Erica Lindstrom in, as well as Jesper Orman coming in, and Alexis Newsom staying out with David Soranzo also. So Alexis will take over the lead. And I'm finding it very interesting that the teammates are choosing opposite strategies. Alexis and Jesper choosing to go on separate strategies. Jesper even going on a different strategy than Thomas Christensen or Matthew Turner. So this is quite interesting to shake it up. And with 24 to go, obviously everybody's going to have enough fuel to make it to the end.
Yeah, what the strategy split might also be is the track temperature now is, it just went down to 34 actually. So some drivers might be feeling a little bit more comfortable on the hotter tires that they have been on, so they warm up the temperatures a little bit quicker because you have been running on them for a little while already. But some others might be preferring the newer tires to be able to make some more aggressive moves with 23 laps to go at this point. So it's a bit of driver preference, I would say. So that's probably the thought process behind it.
Either way, as we say, it's fun watching all this strategy play out at this moment, but we're basically going to have a 20-lap shootout no matter who's out there for the end of this one, and that will be very exciting. Would love to say thank you for Hyperion John joining us, and also Habarillo joining us over here in the YouTube chat room. Habarillo letting us know, let's go Manuel, go Super Mango, and appreciate you stopping by like each week. Gabriel, really appreciate it. Let's play Yalbert. And so I've checked out some of your videos as well. Very entertaining stuff. Hyperion John, thanks for stopping by. And rooting on Florian Fernandez, who unfortunately has had a couple of moments, but right now is at the front of this field, is going to get the wave around, I believe, this lap. So currently down, I think down 2 laps right now, so this will not put him back on the lead lap. But Florian having a good run here in the first season of the Prime Meridian Racing League, and getting some experience with getting up there racing with these top drivers in the Prime Meridian Racing League and getting a feel for it. Nonetheless, he'll continue around here and close up on the backside of the group as the lights are off on the pace car, and we've got one more until we come back to green. So, Julian, when's your next broadcast for Velocity Online Racing?
We actually have this weekend we have one broadcast coming up for the Autograph Speedway at 7 p.m. Central European Time. Yes, I still have to get used to the Central European Time instead of summertime, but yeah, we have one at 7 p.m. coming up. The race timing was changed slightly because of the Mexican GP qualifying in F1. So yeah, you can watch that on our channel on YouTube, Velocity Online Racing it is. The main series is off though, so just got the Euro series at 7 Central European Time. Then the next race after that are going to be next week. So really just a chilly week / weekend coming up. So it's kind of nice actually, but I have to say some racing to broadcast is always nice. So that's why I'm here also.
You're just everywhere, Julian. Anywhere there's some Indy cars out on a racetrack, you're just like, can I be there and sit in the stands, or can I do the commentary? Can I race? Just any way to get involved. It's so cool. And of course, what a special place to be at. Always Indianapolis, and you've got a great field over there in the Velocity Online Racing, but we've got 23 laps to go with a fantastic field here for the PMRL. Who will it be? Will it be Alexis Newsom or second place Andreas Ike? For Team Talent, Henry Bennett sitting in third for Powerslide Motorsport. Perhaps Thomas Christensen's day in the sun, getting that wreath and the bottle of milk.
Oh! Almost contact there in turn 2, but they just got away with it. Mike Johnston and Sefri Seppa there almost collided in turn 2, but they came millimeters apart from each other and they're still going.
Well, Newsom has her own battle happening here as she's sliding back. David Soranzo hanging out up there in front and leading this group. And right now, I don't think this is what Alexis Newsom wants to see. She wants that clean air. She wants to control the front. And she certainly does not want to give Henry Bennett a chance to make a pass on her and control the front of this race. Once again, these teammates working so efficiently together. I think if you let one in, you pretty much let the others in. So I think Powerslide trying to keep Three Crowns Racing at bay and vice versa. This is a battle between two amazing elite IndyCar teams. And you've got it right here on VirtualRacing.Network with 21 laps to go. So what are you thinking if you're Alexis Newsom right now and you want to pass Soranzo, but here goes Bennett down the inside past them both. There, Bennett working the inside of Soranzo now on the backstretch. And still can't manage to take the position away from Soranzo, who wants to stay on this lap. I believe actually Soranzo is still... I'm not sure if he's a lap down. We'll have to see when he comes across the start-finish stripe.
He is not.
So, okay, so he's fighting to stay on that lead lap. He's right now, this is all about Soranzo wanting to stay on that lead lap, and if a caution comes out, he'll circle back around. It'll immediately put him in 13th place to try to close up the gap and pass some cars and maybe make a top 10 out of this. So that's what he's fighting for. But Danny Brennan around in the back. Looks like a self-spin. But that does bring out our yellow. So was Soranzo ahead at the moment that the yellow came out? Reminds me of a classic IndyCar race here. What was it, 2004 with Helio and Paul Tracy? He passed me under the yellow.
It was 2002, yeah.
2002. There you go. Oh, and Brennan really struggling now, doing some four-wheeling. I guess trying to turn that green machine into a similar John Deere for the moment. Similar colored machine. But Danny will continue around on the cool down lane and try and bring it back around. Henry Bennett shown there in the lead, and I guess Soranzo in fact did get that. He was in front, and so not only does he not have to wait for the wave around, but he can actually come around, make a pit stop, and be able to be on fresh tires for the end of this one. So who is going to come in and get that pit stop done and be on the fresh tires? Unfortunately, one of the drivers we're seeing over here is Sam Blackwood, who has jumped back to the pits, and it looks like suffering from some ill-handling symptoms on that Dallara IR-18 IndyCar. So last week's fan vote winner, unfortunately, trapped back there in the pits and not able to get out. So what do you think? If you're, Julian, if you're running in, say, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th position right at the back of the front group, you come in and take tires?
Definitely, yes, 100%. You're not gonna lose anything because you're gonna be at the end of the lead lap anyway, so you're always gonna be in that position. So if you don't, it's well, what's the nice way of putting it? So it's not very smart to not do that. So yeah, in my opinion, you definitely have to take tires because you're not gonna lose anything anyway. So you might as well just go for it. And who knows? You can actually end up maybe 5th or 6th at the end of the day, because the track temperatures are still going down, so you're going to see some pack racing on this restart before the tires start falling off again, so you might as well make the most of that.
Well, indeed, there is making the smart play, and you take deep calculations on this. You do a lot of factoring in of what how far you can go on a fuel map, etc. ahead of time, but then there's always dumb luck, and sometimes just having the cautions fall your way the way that you need them to is enough. So the complexion of this one, though, has completely changed from where we were on the first stint. Now you've got Henry Bennett up in front. Alexis Newsom tried to hold him off but could not. And so as a result, Alexis Newsom, who started all the way back in 10th, has climbed 8 positions with great strategy and great talent out there, and able to get up there and challenge for the lead. She ran in the front a lot, also swapping with Jesper Orman for quite a bit of time. Jesper went on to an alternate strategy from the rest of his teammates just a little bit. That has put him back in 9th place. And you see several other Three Crowns Racing with IAR drivers up there in the top 5. Thomas Christensen, Matthew Turner, and then just behind you've got Severi Seppa just in front of Jesper Orman. But I think, though, we're gearing up for a 12-car shootout for the end. And just like I was talking about before the yellow flu, there's David Soranzo, who absolutely did make the most of it, fought very hard to stay on that lead lap. And as a result, he's going to be fighting for a top 10 and possibly more here at the end.
Just have to wait and see.
Just have to wait and see. That's the beautiful part, is there's nobody making moves like sometimes in Formula One, drivers will make pit stops in, the very first stint, and basically if it doesn't change dramatically by the end, I mean, that's the way it's going to be. I mean, you can pretty well predict the end of the race unless something, very, very amazing happens at the end. But here in IndyCar, especially with cautions on ovals and the nature of Indy being just difficult to really overtake and manage your car in traffic, I mean, really, we have no idea what's going to happen from the beginning of the race until the end. It is Henry Bennett, though, who's going to lead us back to the green flag on lap 17. We've had 8 cautions here. Will we see another one before the end? That is going to be a very good question. In the meantime, we saw Will Lyon with a completely damaged machine. He's currently running back in 7th place, so don't count out the champion. Having another championship-style day, salvaging the most that he can. And Jesper Orman, he's riding around right now in 9th place, so we'll see if last season's winner is able to get right back up there and challenge this group at the front. But right now, it's Bennett, Newsom, and Ike who are going to lead us back to the green flag here for round 5 of the PMRL Season 2 on VirtualRacing.Network. What do you think out there in YouTube land? You think it's going to be Henry Bennett, Alexis Newsom, Andreas Ike, or someone else? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat, as Bennett does lead it back, but very closely followed. He did not really break away too far from Alexis Newsom. And check out who's in 3rd. Well, it is Andreas Ike for Team Talent. And they're mixing it up already. Alexis Newsom to the inside on the backstretch. And she dives to the inside. She takes that position. She's going to slide up in front of Bennett. Bennett now going to be very, very desperate to get that position back. I don't think he's going to settle to ride around behind Newsom at all. He wants some of that clean air if he can get it.
Watch Soranzo, by the way. He's on the move. Oh, he just tried to go to the inside, but he went at the same. Oh, that's so close. Almost contact in turn 1 there with the rear end of somebody. I think that was Mark Johnston on the inside. That was Manuel Gomez Esteban. Oh, that's a. Why are they so close all the time? I don't know why they're doing it. He slipped off a little bit, but Soranzo taking no chills. He wants to go to the front right away, and he's already up into P7, P8. No, where's
P11?
I thought all the lap cars were the way then. Okay, cool.
It's difficult to tell with all those lap cars, but yes, indeed, Soranzo there in 11th and making his way forward. Gomez Esteban, the last car on that lead lap, there in 12th, up 9 spots for Gomez Esteban. But this is the battle at the front that we all wanted to see. It's Alexis Newsom and Henry Bennett, as well as Andreas Eich, 3 drivers for 3 different teams, mixing it up here at the front. If you look just back and forth, it's Thomas Christensen and Hugo Olsen starting to close in, and Newsom down to the inside once again on Bennett. It's getting to be fun. And by the way, fastest sector 1 time, that time by going to Andreas Eich. Fastest sector 2 time going to David Soranzo. So the cars are starting to get faster and faster as we go. The track is getting cooler and cooler, Julian. These cars starting to get into hyperspace in terms of how fast they were going before. And Bennett, one of the masters of flinging these IR-18s around this Indy racetrack. I think it's lining up for Bennett, but we'll see if either one of these 2 other drivers, Alexis Newsom and Andreas Eich, can manage to charge forward. Meanwhile, it is Hugo Olsen back in 5th, who is still looking to get up and past Thomas Christensen. As we were talking about Christensen doing that tail gunner, now he was doing it for Jesper Orman before, now he's doing it for Alexis Newsom. Working hard for 3 Crowns Racing, trying to keep Hugo Olsen, a very fierce fellow Swedish competitor, at bay and make him have to use those tires to try to get around. By the way, fastest lap of the race for Jesper Orman, a 40.78 that time by. Will Jesper Orman somehow manage to claw this one out of the hands of Henry Bennett and Hugo Olsen? It's just 11 laps to go. It's anyone's guess who's going to win. We watch on, and they're still nose to tail at the front of this one. Henry Bennett and Alexis Newsom fighting it out for round 5, the Indy 250. Both of these drivers one-off drivers, and Andreas Eich embroiled in this actual championship, so Newsom and Bennett have absolutely nothing to lose here, and that's always something great on your shoulders. You're not thinking about the championship. You're not thinking I need to settle for 2nd or 3rd and get the points. You're just going for the win, and that's exactly what we got with Bennett and Newsom.
They know what Indy means for sure, so they've got nothing to lose indeed. If you guys don't know the reference, Alan St. Jr., you don't know what Indy means. But anyways, on to the backstretch again. Newsom once again to the inside line, trading the lead with Henry Bennett.
Was that 92? 92 at Indy? Just don't know what Indy means.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact, one of those classic moments here at the Brickyard. And we're setting up for something similar here, as these drivers are just absolutely slicing and dicing as the sun begins to set over the grandstands on the front stretch, cooling down the track there just a little bit. These drivers, as we take a look at the weather, it is down to 33 now. Still that 16-kilometer-an-hour crosswind. And yet again, another fast lap. This time, Hugo Olsen with a 40.76. Orman on that same lap was fastest in Sector 1, but overall, Olsen able to take the fastest lap. So, still trading fast laps at the front. Will Olsen be able to claw in this front 3 now that he's managed to get around Christensen? It's all starting to form at the front, Julian, with just 7 laps to go.
Yes, and Olsen is gaining some speed on the leader, so he is not out of this. He's got the second freshest tires. The freshest tires are for Jasper Orman, which is a bit of a surprise because Hugo just got by Orman. So I think Olsen's got the better car at the moment to try and challenge for the win. But Alexis Newsom once again to the lead in front of Henry Bennett, Eich, and Olsen now in 4th, with Orman rounding off the top 5. But across the other brakes once again with 6 laps to go now. And we still don't know who's going to win this because this is so intense. We really don't know who is going to cross the line first.
It is a good question. Who are you picking? I mean, it's anybody's race with 6 to go. We watch on to see who it might be.
Wanna
As they
bet
can.
for $1?
What's that?
You want to bet for $1?
I put $1 on Alexis Newsom, that's for sure. It's hard to count her out now that she's in the front, but I mean, how do you root against, or how do you count out Henry Bennett or Andreas Eick, even Hugo Olsen? It's too tough to call at the front 4.
I'll go with Bennett then.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, easy enough. Well, they continue to swap here at the front, inches apart, well over 220, reaching close to 230 miles an hour into turn 1. Will anyone make a mistake? Who will end up at the front in 5 laps? Andreas Eick now poking his nose up into this group. Is he going to try to take that position? We will find out as you see that gold machine of Hugo Olsen starting to creep into the picture. Who will it be? It continues here with 4 to go. It's exciting stuff. I mean, I'm just awestruck at this point. Soranzo getting very close to the turn 2 exit. Soranzo has worked himself into 10th position, so definitely getting up into that top 10. And so if you look over in the chat room, who out of the top 4 not sure if it posted. Yes, there we go. You can vote in the chat room for fan vote of the day. Who should it be? Henry Bennett, Alexis Newsom, Andreas Eick, or Hugo Olsen? Those are the top 4 as it runs, and we are yellow with 3 to go. So will that lock Bennett into the win?
Yep.
It's Mark. That is your race. Our 9th caution will lock it in, and we'll take a look at the reason. It's Mark Johnston sideways there through the corner. That was turn 1. Let's back it up. Yes, indeed, turn 1. So there's Johnston on the inside. It just perhaps has a little bit too much weight jacker on. Comes around on him. And the drivedoctors.co.uk machine is not as pretty and green as it was before. It's got all kinds of grass and dirt on it now, sadly. A couple of bent pieces. So he'll have some repair bills from the doctors.co.uk website team soon. But hey, that was an amazing race with a lot of side-by-side action. I hope you really enjoyed it out there. As Bennett is going to circulate here under the pace car for one final lap after this one, and then he will be declared the winner over Alexis Newsom and Andreas Eick. Hugo Olsen will get 4th, Jesper Orman 5th. What a fantastic race that was, and certainly a lot of passing. So I think the fans got their money's worth here at the Indy 250.
Oh, they sure did. I'm curious to see how many lead changes we have on the iRacing results page after this. But just want to point out, by the way, how controversial would it be to have a green-white checker now? Not that there is one, by the way, don't freak out, but just in case, you know, it happened in some other league that I used to race in.
Well, it would certainly be controversial, just as it is in real life. But we don't do that here in the PMRL. We just go by the iRacing standard rules, and there's no green-white checkered. If it falls yellow, yeah, thankfully. Well, I mean, you know, if you know it coming in, then everybody's under the same rules. So it's just one of those things. Do I, you know, but as far as IndyCar goes, there's never been a green-white checkered. They've always made an attempt to, you know, red flag if possible, if there's a big incident towards the end of a race. But of course, here on virtual racing, it doesn't red flags aren't really a thing. There's not really a need for it, as the tow trucks can immediately fetch any sort of wounded car. But this was a great race. It was a lot of fun, for sure, to watch all of these very talented drivers come forward. And in terms of the top finishers in the field, the winner of the top Swedish driver today is going to end up being Hugo Olsen. Nevertheless, for as much work as Hugo and Jesper Orman put in at the beginning of this one in different stages, well, it's going to end up being Henry Bennett, who really did not lead too many laps here, other than the ones that he was occasionally swapping with Olsen. It was a lot of Alexis Newsom who was leading the race, but nevertheless, it will be Henry Bennett who will take this win for Powerslide Motorsports, just demonstrating that he has that talent to show up on any given week and steal that win. And certainly, as you mentioned, this is one of those tracks where you'd want to do it. This is just one of those tracks where it really means the most to take an Indy win, and you know that somewhere up on the mantle, this trophy will end up proudly displayed for Henry Bennett to add to that great collection of trophies accumulated over the years. It's really funny, Julian. I go back and I look at world records of the IndyCar, and there's a name that keeps popping up for 2018, back when the IndyCar did not have the underside downforce and the aero screen and all of that stuff. It's Henry Bennett who set a lot of those world records back then, and still proving that, well, he's certainly not an old man, but still proving that he can get it done here in 2021. Able to just come in here with a fixed setup that someone else built and outclass the competition. British driver taking victory here unofficially. Of course, we always have to wait for the penalties to come out at the end of the week, but unofficially going to take the victory here and bring it around one final time to the start-finish straight and pull it down to the start-finish stripe. And perhaps we'll be seeing some donuts out of the Powerslide Motorsports driver as we watch on. And there we go. Turning it to the right. Locking that front brake bias. And pushing down hard on the go button. Bennett doing donuts like a champ. That is some tight formation of those donuts there. Certainly making his Powerslide winning teammates of Hugo Olsen and somewhere out there Adam Blocker among others taking careful consideration on how well executed those donuts are. What a celebration. What a fantastic day for Henry Bennett of Powerslide Motorsports. He wanted the 007, and they said, we can't do that in this league, unfortunately, and I'm so glad he was willing to settle for the 07 and come back and give us a show here. Absolutely astounding, and those fans on their feet loving every second of this here at start finish. And he does in fact blow that engine. My goodness, what an amazing race, and certainly Indy lives up to its name once again. So see if we can go ahead and pull up the final results there on your screen. Now that it has gone official and we've gotten all those smoky donuts out of the way, it's Henry Bennett. You saw it here live. He swap drafted to perfection with his teammate Hugo Olsen, but when left alone, he had to challenge Alexis Newsom and Andreas Eich, and he got the better of both of them, able to take the victory here, and a winner by 0.7 of a second over Alexis Newsom there at the end because of the caution, but it was much closer than that. Andreas Eich taking third in a great championship day for him, and in terms of the overall championship, he took the most points of anyone who's really in championship contention. So last year's third place finisher in that championship, having a great champ day. Hugo Olsen taking fourth. He's going to be asking what more he could have done today. He really tried hard, but unfortunately just didn't have the car at the end to make it up there. And Jesper Orman, same thing. He's going to be looking at Hugo Olsen finishing 4th and him finishing 5th and Thomas finishing 6th and Matthew finishing 7th and just say, what happened here? We were all up at the front. But that's the way that Indy, the cookie crumbles. And again, dumb luck or just being at the right place at the right time sometimes is the better way to go, being on that alternate strategy to everyone else. There you can see the top 18 finishing order. And take a look at everyone else. Of course, JB Stewart and Race Control there at the end, not in the race, but 23 cars classified today, including a couple of top front runners here in the series who have slid back, and unfortunate to see them have a difficult day. Also difficult to see Taylor Mills, who came in. We really thought that she might pull some of that Taylor Mills magic out of the hat, but not able to do it today, ending up back in 20th position. So let's take a look now at our drivers as they've climbed out of their rigs. Julian Altena has headed off to enjoy the atmosphere here in Indianapolis, and so he won't be with us for the rest of the broadcast. We wish him well in everything else that he's up to for the rest of the week, but hoping to get a couple more people here into the booth. And so we take a look at who's here. Well, why don't we go ahead and start with, we don't have Andreas Eich with us, but we do have Hugo Olsen, who finished 4th. Let's go ahead and talk to Hugo. Hey, Hugo, can you hear me, bud?
Yeah, hello, Trevor.
Hugo, what an amazing race for us, the fans here watching. It seemed like it was a dream come true in the very beginning for Power Slide, with yourself and Henry Bennett able to sweep the front row, and then watching this race in the very beginning of the stint, just amazing to watch you two be able to work together. And then on that first caution, you decided to come into the pits. Go ahead and talk us through how your weekend with Bennett went down today.
Yeah, so we were out just trying to go as fast as possible in the beginning of the race, swapping back and forth. But when it got yellow there, that was where the window opened for a 3-stop of the race. So we decided to pit at that point and make the first stop, which cycled us very far back. So we thought that more people would pit, but it ended up being us back in more than 10th place or so back. So it was hard to move up through the pack again, but we thought we had figured the strategy out for the end of the race, or rather in the middle of the race, but got a lot of yellows there, so it basically put everyone close to the same strategy again. But we still had a fuel advantage when everyone made the last stop, because Jesper and I think Alexis too had to save a bit more fuel, so we were looking good there. But when I was on pit road, we got the yellow. So and for some reason iRacing scored me in the wrong position, so I had to restart way further back in the pack, even though I exited pits like one entire straight in front of the leaders. Or the other cars on this that had made the stop, so still annoyed about that. But yeah, I guess I moved up a couple of positions to get the points, and hopefully I caught into the lead Will has in the championship a bit.
Well, and let's talk about that. Of course, we've got 2 different championships happening here, as well as just this race. So this race being Indy, it means a lot to so many. We saw Henry Bennett and Alexis Newsom and Taylor Mills come out of their hiding places and come and race with us for a minute, just to win Indy, and that's really awesome. But for the main championship, you're right up there with Will Lyon, and Will Lyon did not have as good of a day as you did. He finished 4 spots back from you, so technically this is a big gain for you in the championship. And the next driver that's ahead of you, Andreas Eich, a little bit further back in the championship. So really, in terms of a championship day, this was actually not such a bad day for you.
Yeah, I guess that's the positive sign. I was hoping for at least a podium finish, but I guess I'll take that. And also Henry won for the team, so maybe we will have something in the team championship if he comes back for a few races.
That would be lovely. We'll all hope for that to happen. And certainly it's great to see the likes of you both with your iconic liveries here on iRacing, racing for the front of Indy once again here on VirtualRacing.Network. So much fun. Unfortunately, not able to get that podium position today. Elusive. Indy just has that, giveth and taketh away sort of nature, but still, as you mentioned, great run for Powerslide Motorsports and a really great race for yourself. Also, you're the top Swedish driver today. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, nice.
By just one position over your friend Jesper Orman, and of course one more position over Thomas Christensen. What a heck of a battle that is turning into, as well as the Oval Championship within a championship. So we'll try to update everybody on where those championships are at next week. In the meantime, anybody else that you'd like to thank, or any other shout outs, or would you like to say some words in Swedish for your fans?
Yeah, I want to thank Henry for the help up there in the race, and yeah, I guess that's it. No, not any words in Swedish this time.
Okay, that's fair enough. We'll wait for next time. But did you race your Swedish NASCAR race today?
No, it's no race this week, so have a break from that. But not sure if I can make it for the fixed race tomorrow, though. I'll try.
Okay, well, we'll hope that does work out in our favor, and of course we'll look forward, if possible, to seeing you tomorrow. As always, you're leading in the you're right up there in the championship points. So as always, anybody who wants to tune in occasionally and see Hugo Olsen in some more racing, come on over and watch VirtualRacing.Network's coverage of the NTT iRacing IndyCar Fixed Series right here on VirtualRacing.Network on Thursdays. Thanks again for joining us, Hugo, and of course, good luck with the rest of the season, and congratulations on 4th place.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So that's Hugo Olsen joining us from 4th. He was up there in the front. Looked like he had the bit between his teeth, and looked like he might have something for that final 3, but he had to come through some pretty tough characters back there, and unfortunately just not quite able to get up into that podium position. But I tell you what, there is one other driver who was, and let's see if we can get her in here. It's Alexis Newsom. Hey, Alexis, can you hear me?
Hi. Can you understand me?
I can hear you just fine. I'm going to turn you up just a tiny bit, but there we go. So, hey, Alexis, it's so cool. I saw that you were going to be joining the field today, and I was thinking every week I circle her name for winning on these ovals, and then you showed up and you proved me right. Thanks for doing that. You're right there racing hard for 1st and 2nd place, and it's got to mean a lot to you to come back here to Indy and to get 2nd place. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable today because of upgrading my computer and had to start my settings all over. So it's kind of been a while, and a little luck and strategy, and had a chance to win at the end. It was a battle with Henry and Ike.
Indeed, yeah, that was an amazing battle with Andreas. You and Henry, I mean, swapping lap after lap after lap. It was just a big question mark as to how it was going to all work out. And I mean, of course, we didn't get a chance to really see the last 3 laps and see it work out, but it was so close. You were in the lead, And it's again, just to know that you were there, know that if you had maybe one more lap or another 2 laps, you could have pulled it off. Hey, can you just quickly tell us what was kind of your key, your strategy for the day? You seem to have some good work with your teammates there at Three Crowns Racing. What do you think was your real strategy?
Well, it was mostly kill save. From the very start, I was in top 5 most of the time. I was planning on doing 2 stops if it went green. And then we got all the cautions, and it kind of cycled back around. It feels like a race again. Based on when most of our team pitted. So, we got a little help with more cautions. And ended up being able to cut out a stop that way. So we weren't in the best position. Hugo and Henry had the best one. And everyone stopped with them. But we just looked pretty good.
It sure did. I mean, ultimately work out in your favor. It was interesting, though, watching during the race, you and a couple of others on your team, Christensen and Turner, electing to go on a different strategy, or Orman deciding to go on a different strategy than you, splitting off. Nevertheless, everything kind of ending up back together at the front at the end, but you got the best of it, and you were certainly in position to win this race. Anything different you think you could have done? In hindsight, would you have just tried to stay there in the lead and not let Henry by, or was there just no way to really get one up on Henry today?
Well, there's always things you wish you would do different. At Indy, when you're first and second like that, you can't really hold the first back. You kind of just have to swap captain with them until the end. And one of you decides to start snaking down the straightaway, and that's when the race stopped. So, there wasn't really much more I could have done about that. Maybe I could have started swapping the straightaway before Henry did, but yeah, that's about the only thing I could have said.
You were just waiting it out for the end and waiting for Henry to go defensive, and then you would be able to attack. Hey, congratulations on your recent win in Lionheart, and congratulations, we've been just watching you steadily climb the ranks in the iRacing IndyCar scene, and it's just great to see you up there in winner's circle this week. Second place here in the PMRL, and but we look forward to really big things for you for the future. Congratulations on your finish here, and great success thus far in IndyCar.
Thanks, Trevor. Really appreciate that. Thanks for being on the broadcast.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Any shout-outs that you want to do?
Oh, just thanks to all of 3CR with IAR. Just thanks for all the help and everything for all of us.
Absolutely solid team that you're with. Three Crowns Racing with IAR. They have their act together every single week, and a pleasure watching this team in action. Bring it no matter where you're looking in IndyCar. It seems like they're doing well. So congratulations, Alexis, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you at some more races here in the Prime Meridian Racing League.
Yeah, I'll be around.
Awesome. Alexis Newsom stopping in from second place, letting us know how her day was, and you can hear a little bit of disappointment in her voice. She wanted it to get down to that last couple of laps, but nevertheless, it was Henry Bennett who managed to be able to take the victory for Powerslide Motorsport, and he's here with us in the Discord. Hey, Henry, have you got that wreath on your shoulder, and they give you the milk already?
I've not had the milk yet. Yeah, the wreath is next to me. Look forward to putting that on.
Must look brilliant over there, my friend. I can't wait to find out how you and Powerslide are celebrating after this one. But congratulations. What a heck of a job. You know, you came in not having raced with us here at the PMRL yet. I saw your name on the entry list. I thought that's so exciting. And then finally we got you to come over and do Indy. You decided to do it, and you got pole position right out of the box. Again, this is something you don't have the luxury of that great intelligence going on within Powerslide to be able to develop setups to your advantage. but you're able to do it here today and use this fixed setup to your advantage. Take pole position. Now, take me through your race, because it was really similar. You were swap drafting with Hugo Olsen through that whole first stint, and then it looked like for Hugo, it just kind of, the strategy didn't really work to his favor, but you worked your way through the field and you managed to get up there at the end in the right place at the right time. How did it feel to you?
Yeah, I think. Oh, I mean, I was always on the same strategy as Hugo. To start with, we knew we couldn't make it in 2 stops. We knew it would be 3 stops if it went green the entire way. So we weren't really trying to save fuel at the start. We were just trying to string the field out, develop gaps, and hopefully that would, give us a better chance of when we pit coming out in clean air. But as the cautions built up, it complicates the strategy slightly. So we were just always counting back from where the pit windows were to the end. But yeah, on the same strategy as Hugo, but he made his way through the field slightly quicker than I did. And on that last green flag stop, I'd lost the draft, so I thought the only way to keep up with the leaders that had pitted would be to pit slightly earlier than intended. I had like 4 laps more fuel when I pit, but without the draft I was losing time. So yeah, I pit early, and by not pitting at the same time as Hugo, that got me track position, because Hugo got really unlucky with that caution as he pitted. Some bug with the pace car means everyone has to pass him and the pace car before queuing up behind the pace car, so that shuffled him from first to the back. So it was a bit of luck, otherwise I would have been in the same situation.
And as you said, I talked about it during the race. I mean, sometimes just blind luck or dumb luck and being in the right place at the right time gives you that slight advantage that you need to chase down everybody. But there at the end, you seem to put yourself right in the right place where you needed to be with 10 laps to go. Take me through that, if you will. What was your thought process coming down? You're getting 10 laps to go, 5 laps to go. You've the top 3 with you and Alexis and Andreas. Andreas, obviously, you've had many races with. But all 3 of you battling together there. What did you want to do? Was the plan to just keep swap drafting to the end and then be in clean air and try and hold the front, or was it to maybe make a last second draft pass around Alexis? What were you thinking as you're coming down and the yellow flag hasn't fallen yet?
I mean, at the end, when you're battling, you always have to play it by ear. You kind of don't really. It depends how the car's handling, really. I mean, if you can hold the bottom and maintain the lead by holding the bottom, that's kind of what you want to do. But I don't think that would have been possible today. With how the conditions were, with the fixed setup, with the windy conditions, made it very difficult to do that. So we were kind of struggling with handling all day. But yeah, I was hoping that dirty air and a little bit of weaving would maintain me the lead. I mean, I'm not sure, actually 100% sure what the rules are on weaving in this league. I had to ask Hugo when the caution came out at the end there. Oh, were there rules against this? But I saw someone do it earlier, so I think as long as you're not over exuberant with it, you can do it. But yeah, just play it by ear. But yeah, at the start of that stint, like 15 to go, I was hoping that we would work together to string the field out like we did at the start. Otherwise, if we're fighting from the start, it would be all the cars would be on top of us, and it would be a pack race for all 15 laps, which wouldn't be the best thing for the 2 leaders, really. You really want to control it and make it a fight between just 2 or 3 of you rather than 10.
Well, nevertheless, you've done this over and over and over again. You've done so many Indy races. I was just talking about how I look back on some of the world records that are set from the original IR-18 IndyCar back in 2018. There's Henry Bennett's name at the top of a lot of those world records. So you've been doing this for a lot of years. And really that mastery of being able to know exactly where to position your car there at the end, be able to pivot your strategy depending on what your teammate is doing, what the other drivers are doing, what lap it is. Henry, you continue to show, anytime we get a chance to point a camera at you, your clear expertise, and you're one of the best drivers, one of the elite drivers here in iRacing on the IndyCar community, and you show it every single time that we point that camera. So congratulations, an amazing victory here, and also great to snag a win for Powerslide Motorsports in this league, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be here finally. Yeah, signed up at the start of the season and really wanted to race the whole season, but conflicts with another couple of leagues that run on Wednesday nights meant I haven't been able to run until now. But yeah, great to start my time with the league with a pole and win. Yeah, just want to say, I mean, at the end there, the timing of the caution, I feel a little bad because it could have been Alexis's or Andreas's or even Hugo's or Jesper's win if it had gone in the distance. So yeah, not the way I'd want to win, but yeah, reasonably pleased with winning today.
And again, yeah, you would have loved to have, I'm sure, Hugo right up there behind you, but nevertheless, you know, whether you win under yellow or you win under green, Henry, you got to the right place at the right time, and my goodness, I sure hope we get to see you again. What an amazing challenge for this oval, and I can just imagine how great this championship would be if we could see you each week. Congratulations, Henry. Any shout outs that you want to do?
Shout out to Hugo and Powerslide. Yeah, worked really well today, as usual.
Hey, and also on another note, Julian mentioning he races with you in the Classic IndyCar, and that you had a rough race yesterday. Now talk, just if you can, as a champion, what's it like to have a difficult race and, you know, you go to bed, maybe you're a little angry or frustrated, it didn't go your way, and you've got to rebound the next day, do a big race like this. I mean, you obviously overcame it. Do you have a strategy to overcoming your setbacks in iRacing?
I mean, once you're back in the car, you kind of forget what happened in previous races. But unfortunately, the bad races do tend to stick out in your mind more than the good races, the wins. Unfortunately, I think that's just human nature. But yeah, it's good to get the win in, and you know that makes you forget about the bad race.
Indeed, and hopefully that milk tastes super sweet when you drink it tonight. What's your preferred milk choice?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think right now chocolate milk, but that could change depending on the time of day.
Chocolate milk. That is an interesting one. I would love to see Henry Bennett there in Victory Circle drinking milk with the wreath on. Congratulations, man. I know it's not your first Indy victory, but still another sweet trophy to hang on the wall. Great to have you here, and congrats. And will we get a chance to see you for some more PMRL races like Pocono?
I hope so. I'd have to look at the calendar, but as long as there's no conflicts with, well, I think there's only 3 more Lionheart races left this year, so once that's done with, I'll be a free man.
That'll be wonderful. Brilliant job today. As always, Henry, congratulations, man.
Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate it.
So that is Henry Bennett of Powerslide Motorsports, who pulls off yet another victory, this time at the hallowed grounds of IndyCar, the big one at Indianapolis. What a fantastic race this was, and what an amazing event. I hope you enjoyed it out there, watching in 4K ultra high definition. And as always, if you have any comments, please leave them down below. Make sure you do subscribe to VirtualRacing.Network, and you'll be in the know for next week's race here on VirtualRacing.Network. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got coming up next. As soon as we can get that little guy up on the screen. Always so many buttons to push. So we got Barber Motorsports Park coming up next week. That is always a fantastic road course. Should be a lot of fun. A lot of great competitors here in this series that will excel. Look forward to seeing Will Lyon and SMS Racing back in comfortable grounds at the front end of these road courses, but we'll see what happens. Texas Motor Speedway coming up after that. Long Beach Street Circuit, and then Pocono 250, followed by the final race at Watkins Glen. Some classic tracks for IndyCar coming up very shortly, so as I mentioned, do hit that like button and do subscribe. You'll get plenty more going forward. And as always, my name was Trevor Greenfield. It was an absolute pleasure to call this one. And I was joined earlier by Julian Altena, who's still wandering around somewhere in the streets of virtual Indianapolis, and we wish him well. But this was, of course, the 5th round of the Prime Meridian Racing League, and you were watching it live, uninterrupted, here on VirtualRacing.Network. So make sure to join us next week. Should be a blast out at Barber Motorsports Park. And on behalf of myself and all of the competitors here in the Prime Meridian Racing League, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I also hope you choose to join in tomorrow for the NTT IndyCar Series Fixed right here on VirtualRacing.Network. So until next time, I'm Trevor Greenfield. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye, everybody.